sir. Likewise. You need to. Oh, okay. Leave. Shabbat shalom. As always, we bless the Most High before we pray. We say, Baruch et Yahweh. Baruch et Yahweh hamevarak. Baruch atah Yahweh hamevarak le'elam vayed. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech ha'alam. Asher bekar benu makol hamayim v'natan lanu ha-torah. Baruch atah Yahweh notan ha-torah. That is to say, blessed be Yahweh. Blessed be Yahweh, the blessed one. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the blessed one for all eternity. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim, King of the universe, who selected us from all the peoples and gave us your Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah. To our King, to our Savior, our Deliverer, our Provider, our Healer, our Sustainer. Master, we come to you today with bowed head and humble hearts, thanking you for all things. Asking you, Master, no begging you, O King, that you forgive us of our sins, that you cleanse us of unrighteousness, that our prayers be not hindered this morning. Hear us, O King, when we call unto you. Turn not a deaf ear to our cries. Turn not your face away from us. But hear when we call unto you and lend your ear to our supplications this morning. Master, we ask that you will look upon us today, all that are gathered here today on your seventh day. You said that you made the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day you rested, and them that rest on this day shall be in a covenant with you, Master, and that you shall look up upon them as a man would his son that serves him, and they shall be your treasured possession, O King, when you make up your treasured possession. And we thank you this day. We ask that the meditation of our hearts and the words of our mouth would be acceptable in thy sight. Master, we thank you for all things. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for food, clothing, and shelter, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We thank you for sustaining us this week, and that you've given us the knowledge, and that you called us out of idolatry. And we meet this day out of obedience to you. Master, we meet out of love for you, and we meet out of fear. We thank you, O King, that you sustained us this week, and that you give us a bed to lay down in peace and in safety, because only because of you, Master, do we dwell in safety. We thank you, O King, for the activity of our limbs, Master, that you clothe us in our right minds. We thank you that you have kept our children all week long as they have traversed throughout this world, throughout the highways and byways, and you brought them home to us safely each night. We thank you, O King, for the sustaining food that you provide for us, O King. We thank you for the families that are here and the ones that are represented. Master, we ask that you would just continue to bless us here, Master, as we come out this day to bless you. Look upon us with favor, O King. Smile upon us when you think about us, Master, for we know that your word shall go out and it shall not come back void. But that which you speaketh, O King, shall accomplish all that you send it to do, Master. So we ask that you would speak kind words towards us. Speak kind words towards us, O King, as we attempt to keep thy Torah. Master, we know that our righteousness is as filthy rags, Master, but our righteousness is in you. And we thank you, Master. We thank you for all things, and we ask that you would keep us until we meet here again. This is our prayer.
Shalom to everybody. We're going to read today from Proverbs chapter number 3. If you'll be so kind to read with me as we read. My son, don't forget my teaching. Keep my commandments in your heart, for they will add to you many days, years of life and peace. Do not let grace and truth leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and esteem in the sight of Yah and of people. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart and do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, then he will level your paths. Don't be conceited about your own wisdom, but fear Yahweh and turn from evil. This will bring health to your body, give strength to your bones. Honor Yahweh with your wealth and with the first fruits of your income. Then your grannies will be filled and your vats overflowed with new wine. My son, don't despise Yahweh's discipline or resent his reproof, for Yahweh corrects those he loves like a father who delights in his son. Happy is the person who finds wisdom, the person who acquires understanding. For her profit exceeds that of silver, gaining her is better than gold. She is more precious than pearls. Nothing you want can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, riches and honor in her left. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who grasp her. Whoever holds fast to her will be made happy. Yahweh, my wisdom, founded the earth. By understanding, he established the heavens. By his knowledge, the depths, the springs burst open, and the dew condenses from the sky. My son, don't let these slip from your sight. Preserve common sense and discretion. They will be life for your being and grace for your neck. Then you will walk your way securely without hurting your foot. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, you will sleep and be sweet. Don't be afraid of sudden terror or destruction caused by the wicked, even when it comes, for you can rely on Yahweh. He will keep your foot from being caught in a trap. Don't withhold good from someone entitled to it. When you have in hand the power to do it, don't tell your neighbor, go away, come another time. I'll give it to you tomorrow when you have it now. Don't plan harm against your neighbor who lives beside you trustingly. Don't quarrel with someone for no reason. If he has done you no harm, don't envy a man of violence. Don't choose any of his ways. For the perverse is an abomination to Yahweh, but he shares his secret counsel with the upright. Yahweh's curse is in the house of the wicked, but he blesses the house of the righteous. The scornful he scorns, but he gives grace to the humble. The wise he will honor but fools he will shame. Amen. You may be seated. It's another good day for us to be here to gather on the Father's Day. There is no day like the Father's Day, a day of rest and a day of learning and a day of fellowshipping with each other. I want to say to you all and to those who watch our stream or even tune in later to our live recordings. Here at First Tabernacle Fellowship, we spend time learning and understanding Scripture. We teach Scripture from an expository perspective and not just grabbing little pieces here and little pieces there and little pieces there, because we want to get an understanding of what the text says, the pretext and the post-text, that gives us understanding so that we can properly divide the word of the Most High. Adding to it or bringing into it the nuances of the mitzvot and the Torah laws that govern Hebrew Israel. It seems that every Hebrew house has somewhat of a different flavor. And I'm going to say to you this, you can, and I like Moray Appleton giving me this little cliche. You can season your meat the way you season your meat, and I'm going to season mine the way I season mine, but it's still going to be meat. And it's still going to taste good, and it's going to be all right. First Tabernacle Fellowship does not have, and it's not in any kind of fight with anybody. It's just a matter of boils down to sometimes understanding. Your understanding might be one way, and our understanding might be another way. The issue is that none of these should divide us, should it not separate us, as long as the foundation is solid. And Torah is the foundation of all things, and that's how we govern ourselves according and live our lives according to the Most High's teachings and his rulings. With that being said, we're going to have a kind of a long day today, you all. This guy over here, he's like he's not on half empty. He's got a full tank, and unfortunately, he's going to try to run. He's going to try to run from here to San Diego on a tank of gas. So we're going to figure out how we're going to go today. We have food in the back, and we may take a break in between things here. We'll see how it goes. But I'm just letting you know it's going to be a long teaching today. We have a lot of things to cover. With that being said, here's Moray Sean Appleton.
My goodness. My goodness. Ah, feels good. Right back. Feels really good. To the beneficent. Eye Ashe Eye. The one that has created all things. And I always stop there, because I have to understand that the Most High created all things from nothing. Nothing existed, and the Most High created everything from it. That's beyond understanding. But that has created the heavens and the earth, who has allowed us to be here on this Shabbat today to honor the mitzvot that says that we are to have a holy convocation, that we are to meet, discuss the things that are germane to the Most High and Hebrew Israel. You're fulfilling that today. So I thank the Most High for allowing us and being able to let us be here. One, Mo, again, just to tell you like a T.I. is. I thank the Most High, and I'm appreciative for allowing me to be here. One, Mo Gien. Two, Ambassador Beacom, Shabbat Shalom to you, sir. Shabbat Shalom to Ambassador Harless. Shabbat Shalom to Ambassador Tate. To Moray, Trey Beverly, who did an awesome job last week. Shabbat Shalom to you, sir. If you didn't see that teaching, you need to go back and take a look at it. It had some awesome information in it. Shabbat Shalom to you, sir. To my wife, Ambassador Appleton. Shabbat Shalom. To the head moray of this house, the Honorable Robert B. Holman, Jr. Shabbat Shalom to you, sir. For those of you that are joining us by way of the stream via YouTube, Shabbat Shalom to you and to our descendants, those that will come after us that are not here with us today. Through these recordings, they will be able to understand and know that their ancestors tried to walk in the ways of the Most High as best we could. So Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Now we get to the meat and the heart of the matter. For those of you that are joining me in our studio audience today, I see some new faces. There's something that we do in here. I'm going to ask some questions today. They all know what to do. So just follow along. Are y'all ready to go subterranean? Yeah. Are y'all ready to go subterranean? Are you ready to go to the stratosphere? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. All right, let's get right into this today. I am going to attempt to tackle our Hebraic calendar and the Moedims. We are getting ready to enter in. Now, I'm already going to start raising the antenna of some of our Hebraic brethren already by saying we are about to be in the 7th month of our Hebraic calendar year. In the 7th month, there are special Moedims that have been assigned to this month. We call it a very set-apart month. We used to call it the High Holy Days, but it's a set-apart month. In the month of the 7th month, we have 3 major festivals that happen. We have what? Yom Teruah. And then we have, what else? Sukkot's in this one. There's a third one. Yom Kippur is in the month, this particular month. So, this is a month of self-reflection, a month of remembering things that happened to our ancestors. So we have to go over all those mitzvot as we prepare, because there's things that we are going to have to do. Okay? But before we do that, the quicker y'all answer me, the quicker we can get out of here. Okay? Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Let's start with something kind of lighthearted. Have any of you in here created anything? What have you created? You created food. You created food, okay. What else? Okay, let me put this into perspective for you, what I'm talking about. Honorable Robert B. Holman Jr., did you create that desk over there? Did you create that media station back there? Now, let me ask the question again. Has there anything that you have created? Okay, you could have said a dish. I created baked macaroni and cheese. Okay, all right. What have you created? You've created accessories, okay? We've got woodworking, carpentry. What else have you created? Artwork. Great. Music. What else? Hairstyles. All right. Anything else? She said babies, okay? He said babies. Everybody in this room was creative. Okay. So, let me ask you a real remedial question. For the artwork, the casework, the carpentry, the music, the babies, the dishes, is your creation greater than you? Can that piece of casework over there be greater than the person who made it? No. You sure? Right. If I create a piece of artwork, it cannot be greater than me because I created it. Okay? Remember this. Stick a pin in this. We're going to come right back to this, okay? Setting you up for something. In order for us, now let's jump back on this Hebrew calendar. That's what my kids would call what we just did a side quest. This Hebrew calendar, I want to talk about it in some specificity, okay? And matter of fact, I also want to make sure that we understand this is what we're going to kind of discuss today. So we may have to take a break. I definitely want to get through Rosh Chodesh, which is dealing with our calendar. I also want to deal with Yom Teruah, which is the Feast of Trumpets. That's going to be coming up next week. If I can get through those in a timely fashion, maybe I'll get through Yom Kippur and Sukkot, but we may have to see how that goes. That's what our moray warned you of, because these are going to kind of be long today. But we're going to talk about these today, all right? So, in order to do so, I have to first start with our Hebraic calendar, all right? Now, I'm here today to present to you a school of thought. There is a different school of thought that is instantiated right now amongst a lot of Hebraic congregations around the United States. I'm offering you some additional data for you to consider as to why we differ from many of you in your calendar year. Okay? Before I do that, I have to have some license. I have to have some agency to do something very important. And we need to talk about this thing right here called this Bible. Okay? This is a book that has been canonized and composed by Rome. It has two distinct divisions in it. There is a Hebraic side, which is written in Hebrew, and there is a Greek side. The aim of this book is to do one thing, is to sell you on a demigod called Jesus the Christ. That's what the aim of this book is for. And just because your Hebraic texts are in here doesn't make your Hebraic text bad. That's just what they used in order to establish their demigod. Let's call him exactly what he is. He's half man, half supposedly a divine being, a demigod. The Hebraic texts that are included in here were the ones that the Romans decided would be best to support selling you Jesus the Christ. Okay? Christianity has its roots and it starts at about 30 AD. That's Anno Domini. Does anybody know what that means in Latin? That means in the year of our Lord. That's how we get 2024 AD, in the year of our Lord. In 30 AD is when Christianity started. And why do I say 30 AD? Because that is when Christ began his ministry. He was 30 years old. At the end of his ministry, if you will, or mission, he died at the age of 33. Okay? Between 33 and the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. Let's go back a little bit further. Right after Christ dies, you have this Greek that's introduced. Okay? Until the Romans come in and sack Israel in 70 AD. What am I trying to get here? At the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, Constantine I said, I need to have an ecumenical gathering of bishops to solidify what this book is supposed to be about. He was doing it for a political reason because he understood how much religion played into how people act, if you will, within a community. It's happening right now. When you're evaluating two candidates, who are two candidates? Kamala Harris, and she's running against Kamala Harris. That woman's basically running against herself. But she's running against Donald Trump. And some of the issues that you are listening from both of the pundits deals with issues that relate to how you look at morals, and those morals are defined by what you believe. So he convenes this set of bishops, 300 of them, in 325 AD. And they are there to level the playing field and decide on issues like the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, and how salvation works. And they come back and they tell Constantine, this is what we came up with. In 393 AD is when the Bible was canonized at the Council of Hippo in 393 AD. In 397 AD at the Council of Carthage between 397 AD and 419 AD is when this was finalized. It was ratified. What they did at those councils is they did something simple. They took all of the Hebraic writings that were made available to them and all of the New Testament writings that were made available to them, and they decided which books were going to go into this literary work we call the Bible. Now, the Bible has something that's interesting about it and how it's composed, because it's called inclusio, which means it begins and ends the same way. In the beginning, when you read in Bereshit or in Genesis, it starts out with the creation story and how there's going to be a garden. At the end in Revelation, there's a new heaven and a new earth, a new garden. It's called inclusioso, when you start out with a main idea and you end with the same idea. In this composition called the Bible, they took all these Hebrew texts and all the New Testament texts about Christ, and they said, these are the ones out of the Hebrew ones that we're going to use, and these are the ones out of the New Testament we're going to use for the New Testament. The books that we don't use become a part of this literary work called the Apocrypha. They are books that are Hebraic books that just didn't make it into the canonized Bible. But I want to bring something to your attention. This book, while we use it for the purpose of, number one, you're familiar with it. If we were to say, okay, you come in here with your Chumash or your Tikkun, you'd probably be scratching your head like, what is that? And to also references the text over here in this New Testament that are diametrically opposed to the ways of Yahweh. But know that this is a Roman Catholic book that you are carrying underneath your arm. Okay? And they don't represent all of the Hebraic writings. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. I told you to stick a pin in something. I told you that the aim of this book was what? To sell you who? To sell you JC. So, what we can say is this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If this book was composed by a group of individuals to sell you somebody that is made up, the Most High is not going to come through a virgin birth. That doesn't work that way. It never talks about it. That's made up. Okay? So, if we made up this religion called Christianity, and I asked you something earlier, I said, can the creation be greater than the creator? No. So if the Roman Catholic Church created Christianity, then Christianity can never be greater than the Roman Catholic Church. That means that everything that you understand about the Roman Catholics has to be verified through them, the one who made the religion. That means your Jesus cannot be greater than you either, because you created him. So, for all you Christians, let me give you some advice. Stop asking your creation to do something, but tell him to do it, because you created him. Okay? Know that. to put this thing in its proper perspective. Now, the license that I need is to be able to go outside them books that they've been given to you and say, this is what you need to read. Not so. The license is I need to go outside that book in order to talk about our calendar. Because the things that are germane to our calendar are not found in detail in that Bible. This Bible also gives me some license within itself to go outside. So let's go to some examples. We often running already. Let's go to Yahushua, chapter number 10, verse 13. I'm going to give you some references so you can see where we have external writings that are not included in the canonized Bible. We're going to go to Yahushua, chapter number 10. Number 10. 13. 10 and 13. So, the sun stood still and the moon stayed put till Israel took vengeance on their enemies. This is written in the book of Yasher. Have any of you seen or read the book of Yasher? Maybe some of you. Okay? That's one reference. The other reference to the book of Yasher is in 2 Shemuel. You do not have to go there. 2 Shemuel chapter number 1, verse 18, where Melech David is lamenting over the fact that Melech Shaul has just died. And he makes a reference to the book of Yasher for this lament that Yaakov actually is doing in the book of Yasher. So Yaakov is making this lament. David in 2 Shemuel, chapter number 1, verse 18, is referencing that lament from Yaakov in the book of Yasher. Let's go to 1 Kings, chapter number 14, verse 29. And I do apologize to you, Ambassador. I didn't have these on the list. We're improving right now. 1 Kings chapter number 14, verse 29. It says, other activities of Rehoboam, and all his accomplishments are recorded in the annals of the kings of Yehuda. There's another reference to another book, the annals of the kings of Yehuda. You see what I'm trying to establish is that there are books that are even referenced within inside the Deuterocanonical books that direct you to other books that you don't know about. How many of you have heard of the prophet Yiddo? Have any of you read the prophet Yiddo? Okay, he's referenced too. Let's go over to 2 Chronicles, chapter number 9, verse 29. This will be my last reference here. To set precedent that I do have license to go outside of the Deuterocanonical books to look for all of the information that is Hebraic instead of what I've been shoveled down my throat in that Bible. I can look at it all. Okay? Let's go here. It says, other activities of Shlomo, that's Melech Shlomo, the son of David, from the beginning to end are written where? In the records of Natan the prophet. So Natan the prophet has some type of manuscript that we can need to reference because it's telling us his other activities that Shlomo did were written there. And it says, in the prophecy of Ahijah of Shiloh, there's another reference to another Hebrew writing, and in the visions of Yiddu the seer. These are all written in those individual pieces of work. But we know nothing of them because, quite frankly, they've probably been destroyed. Okay? But this is establishing license so I can go outside of the Hebrewic text that is included in the Bible to do this analysis. So let's talk about the calendar. And I got to make this very simple because I was challenged on this. When I started talking about it, I started talking about it like I was Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, the young people don't know who that is. Y'all don't know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is? Astrophysicist? Okay. Anyway, he is an astrophysicist. So, in talking about a calendar, I need to make it simple. There is two schools of thought. One school of thought is that the Hebraic calendar is a lunar calendar. The other school of thought is that the Hebraic calendar is a solar calendar. If you use the Hebraic text in the Bible, you might prescribe to A, which is it's a lunar calendar. But text outside of the Hebrew text says otherwise. That is a solar calendar. And we have to reference two different books that confirm each other. The book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees. Hebraic writings that, again, on reading them and of examination, they should all be lining up with the mitzvot of the Most High anytime you're reading anything. Okay? But the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees. Let's go, or a matter of fact, okay, before I do that. So, this is going to be a dissertation on how this calendar is actually a solar calendar, not a lunar calendar. All right? This is where I'm getting ready to go with this. So, at least in regards to the calendar, it has 12 months. And it has 4 seasons. Each one of those seasons has a 13-week cycle. Has 13 weeks in each season. 4 seasons during a year. It is a 364-day calendar. 364-day calendar. All right? Now, before I go here, I want to do something. I want to go to Bereshit chapter number 1, verse 14. All right. Bereshit chapter number 1, verse 14. It says, and El said, let there be lights in the dome of the sky to divide the day from night, and let them be for signs, seasons, days, and years. These luminaries in the sky are to mark these for us. We should be able to tell when our seasons are, how long our days are, and how long the year is from these luminaries. It says, and let them be for lights in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth. So they have 2 tasks. As we gaze upon them, they mark all these things out. One of their primary functions is to give light to the earth. El made the 2 great lights, the larger light to rule the day and the smaller light to rule the night. That is not in size. That is in illumination. I'm probably just lost all of my science people right there by saying that. I said it's equal in illumination. Not equal in illumination. Not equal in illumination. And not equal in size. The size of the sun is way larger in science than it is in the moon. Okay? I'm losing people already. I already know it. El put them in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth, to rule over the day and night, and to divide the light from darkness. And El saw that it was good. So there was evening and there was morning the 4th day. What does the Most High may be meaning when he says it's good? I got to do this. I'm here. Have you ever wondered when you read that passage, what is good? Why the Most High, okay, hold on. Why the Most High said that's good opposed to that's bad? What made it good? It's perfect, okay. To the Most High's liking. To what? Because of what? The job, okay, we're going in the right direction. Everything was working properly. There, you guys are hitting on it. Okay, that's where I want to go right there. That's what made it good. What that young lady just said, what Jayla just said. Because he assigned mitzvot to it. You will transverse through the sky this way. Rise in the east and set in the west. You'll be at a certain position in the sky. And since the dawn of time, the Most High's creation has not broken those mitzvot, not one day. So when it was done, making it, it was good. It worked perfectly. That's why when the Most High says you are good in His sight, it's because you're doing the mitzvot. That's righteousness. That's good. When you don't do the mitzvot, that's not good. If the sun broke its course, it would cease to being good in the sight of the Most High. Okay? That's why it's good. Because it obeys the commands that the Most High gave it. All right? Let's go now back to the book of Jubilees. I'm going around Robin's Red Barn today. I'm going to read some stuff to you from the book of Jubilees. We're going to bounce around a little bit here. But we're going to start at book of Jubilees, chapter number 6, verse 22 through 38. And I am going to skip around in this passage. For I have written in the book of the first law, and that which I have written for thee, that thou shouldst celebrate it in its season, one day in the year, and explain it to thee its sacrifices, and the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month, one day in every year. 23. And on the Rosh Chodesh of the first month, and on the Rosh Chodesh, now let me stop here. Why did I use the word Rosh Chodesh? Because it means new month. Let's go get the Rosh Chodesh. You're right here. Rosh Chodesh. Where is my Rosh Chodesh? Those that believe in the lunar calendar believe in the Rosh Chodesh, meaning it's the new moon. The word Chodesh means month. It is composed of a chet, dalet, and shin, with the vowel markers at the top, left hand for the O, at the bottom for the and the shin designating on the left-hand side, or at least the right-hand side as you're looking at it, for the SH sound. Chodesh, which means month. The Most High never, if you're sticking to the Old Testament, never says look at the new moon. Never says look at a sliver in the sky. Never says that. Now, I'm going to tell you what the purpose of the moon is, and we need to jump to Psalms chapter number 104. Let's go. Psalms chapter 104. There it is, right there. What is the purpose of the moon? And this is Melech David speaking. It says, you made the moon to mark the seasons, not the months. And the sun knows when to set. One of the problems with, or at least a challenge with going on a lunar cycle is the fact that, especially when you get into your winter months and it gets cloudy, you have problems seeing what's in the sky because you can't definitively tell whether or not that sliver happened or not. Okay? But let's go back to the book of Jubilees. So, what I just defined for you in the book of Jubilees is our seasons. So, book of Jubilees, if I can find it myself. 23, we just said and on the Rosh Chodesh of the first month, the Rosh Chodesh on the fourth month, and on the Rosh Chodesh of the seventh month, and on the Rosh Chodesh of the 10th month. So the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th months are what? Are the days of remembrance and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. So in the book of Jubilees, it defines what months your seasons are going to change. In the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th month. We're getting ready to get into the 7th month, which is where a season change happens because you're getting ready to go into fall. Okay? So it lines up. It says, these are written and ordained as a testimony forever. Now, verses 24 all the way down through 30 are going to talk about how Noah used the seasons and how he wound up where he was. You can actually try to pinpoint what time of the year when the waters receded and Noah came out of that ark based on these verses above here. If we jump down to verse 30. Excuse me, let's go to 29. Let's go to 29. It says, and they placed them on the heavenly tablets each had 13 weeks. Remember I told you that. Each season is going to have 13 weeks in it. 13 weeks. From one to another passed their memorial, and the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. 30. And all the days of the commandments will be to 2 and 50 weeks of days. He's saying you have 52 weeks and 2 days in your year. All right? And these will make the entire year complete. Thus, it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year from year to year. And command thou children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning. Your year is 364 days and will come and constitute a complete year. This is evidence against those that are on a lunar calendar, because they count in a lunar calendar from new moon to new moon is 29 days. It's actually 29.53 days. If you look up how much a lunar year is, it's 354 days. A lunar year is 354 days. So if you counted from new moon to the next new moon consecutively 12 times, you would be at 354 days by the time you got to that 13th moon that starts actually again at 1. That's 354 days. It says your calendar is 364 days. So let's read on and see what it says here. It says, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. 33. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandments, then they will disturb their seasons. That means your seasons are going to be out of whack. Your years will be out of whack and will be dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the season, and the years will be dislodged. And they will neglect their ordinances, and all the children of Israel will forget and will not find their path of the years. And they will forget the Rosh Chodesh, the seasons, the Sabbaths, and will go wrong as to all their order of the years. If you follow a 354-day calendar, which is about 29.53 days to almost 30 days, This is how you're going to have to course correct. It says the Hebrew lunar calendar contained 12 months and 30 days, or 29 days, which was also a customary period for mourning. Yet the actual lunar cycle is only about 29 and a half days, which resulted in a 354-day and a half year. Keeping the lunar calendar coordinated with these seasons of the year required adding a 13th month to the lunar calendar 7 out of every 19 years. So out of every 19 years, in the 7th one, you're going to have to add in a 13th month if you're on a lunar calendar, if you're going from new moon to new moon to new moon to new moon. You're going to be 10 days too early. All right? I wanted to read that to you. Let's go back to Jubilees. Let's finish it up. Where are we at here? Okay. Let's go to 35. It says, "For I know from henceforth, and I will declare unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the divisions of the days is ordained." That means that your days you can count. "Lest they forget the feast of the covenant and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance." 36, that's why I highlighted this. It says, "For there will be those who would assuredly make observations of the moon and how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon." For those of you that, everybody got a phone? Get your phones out. Get your calendar out. Get your calendar out. On our Hebrew calendar, we're going to do something real quick. Everybody got the phones out? Yes. Get your calendar out. Those that are on a lunar calendar observe the beginning of the month. They observe their Rosh Chodesh on the 5th of September. That's when the sliver in the sky showed up. If you stay on the Hebrew calendar as it's designed by the Most High, what you're going to find out is that the 7th month, again, that's the beginning of the 7th month. They said the beginning of the 7th month was on September 5th. Count 10 days forward. Because the text says that you will be how many days too early? Count 10 days starting on the 5th of September. What day do you wind up on? Let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On the Hebrew calendar that we have, that we follow here, it says that's the beginning of the new month. And that confirms the text here when it says there'll be 10 days too early. Okay? Our new month, 7th month, doesn't start until next Shabbat. All right? They're 10 days too early. Now, the Most High makes it convenient because what? It's a Rosh Chodesh. It's a Shabbat. It's Yom Teruah. And it's the beginning of your new season, which is the fall season. There's 4 things that happen on that one Shabbat. How convenient is that the Most High has most of his major festivals on Shabbats when you're already here? You've already set the day aside already. The Most High, the way he's calculated your calendar, it will fall on a day that you're going to observe as a Shabbat anyway. Now, that is for the majority of them. That doesn't happen for all of them. There's one like Yom Kippur that happens on the 10th day of the 7th month. It will fall in the middle of a week. Pesach will fall on a Friday. Okay? So there are some major ones that we have that do fall out of that particular nuance, but the majority of your festivals fall on Shabbats when you're already here. Okay? Now, the book of Enoch is another book that I reference here, and the only reason I reference the book of Enoch is because I want to show you, if we go to Enoch and it's chapter number 72, verses 1 through 32, this is how long your months are. How long do you know your... So let's go over what we've learned thus far. How many days are in your Hebrew year? 364. Okay? We know that we should follow the sun because it's a solar calendar. We have how many seasons? 4, right? And each of those seasons has how many weeks in them? 13. What we haven't gone over is how many days are in each of these months. And that's in the book of Enoch. Verses 7 all the way through, matter of fact, I want to show you where I've highlighted it. Let's go to book of Enoch, chapter number 72 and verse number 8. Right there. It says, when the sun rises in the heaven and comes through the fourth portal for 30 mornings and in succession and sets accurately in the fourth porthole in the west of heaven. So that's 30 days. 30 days, okay? If you jump down to verse 11, that's 1 month. Says the same thing. And the sun rises from the fourth portal and sets in the fourth portal and returns to the fifth portal from the east, 30 mornings. So the second month has 30 days. Let's go down to 13, verse 13. It says, and it returns in the east and enters the sixth portal and rises and sets in the sixth portal 31 mornings. So in the first season, we have a month of 30, another month of 30, and a last month of 31. If you continue reading from verse 14 all the way through verse 31, it says the same thing 3 more times. 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. Okay? So by Enoch chapter number 72, I'm proving to you how long the month actually is. So we know how long each of the months are, right? Because they follow the pattern 30, 30, 31. We know it's 364 days. We got 4 seasons, right? 52 weeks in the year. All right. When does the year start? Where do I know? How do I know when to start the Hebrew year? Very close, but wrong word. How do I know? Come on, figure it out. I'll wait. Very good. You hit the nail on the head. You got all the tools in order to put the year together. Let's just glue them together and figure out where within the Gregorian calendar the year actually starts. Okay? So, the last verse in this particular passage, verse 32, let's scroll down to it, and it'll tell you something very key. Book of Enoch, chapter number 72, verse 32. And it says this. It says, on the day that the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. Night and day has 9 parts. And the night is equal to the day. And the night is equal to the day. When daytime is equal to nighttime. And the year is exactly as its days, 364. So, it's saying the year is complete when the light is equal to the darkness. That dear brother in the back said a word. When does that happen during the course of the year? When does light equal, say, 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness? What time does that happen during the course of the year? In the spring and in the fall. They're called equiluxes, not equinoxes. That has to do with hemispheres. When the equilux happens, it happens twice a year. Okay, so it says to us, okay, Well, which one is it? Because it doesn't designate it. It says when the light is equal to the darkness. It doesn't tell, and we have two occurrences during the course of the year where that happens. Which one do I pick? It's easy. We apply mitzvot. We apply the mitzvot in Pesach. What is the mitzvot at Pesach? It says on the first month, on the 14th day is Pesach. Let's go to Devarim chapter number 16. Verse 1. It's going to tell you what month it's in. And from the name of the month, we know where to put it, where we put this year. Devarim chapter number 16, verse 1. I don't think I have it up there. I might have it in there. It's kind of complicated. That's why I said we're going to have a long fireside chat today. Says, observe the month of Aviv and keep Pesach to Yahweh your El. Says, for in the month of Aviv, Yahweh your El brought you out of Mizraim at night. Fair enough? Okay. Let's go to Vayikra, chapter number 23. That tells you what month it's in. Vayikra, chapter number 23, is going to tell you what day it's on. It's in the month of Aviv. The word for Aviv in Hebrew is spring. So that should already tell you when your year starts. It starts in the spring. So it says here, Yahweh said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel designated times of Yahweh, which you are to proclaim as holy convocations, are my designated times. I stood on this stage before, and I need to apologize to you guys because I said the Rosh Chodesh was actually a Shabbat. It is not. It is not a holy convocation day. It is not a holy convocation day. It is a day where sacrifices are made on that day, but it is not a holy convocation day because it's not enumerated here in Vayikra chapter number 23. I have to say that real quick. It says, work will be done for 6 days, but on the 7th day is a Shabbat. That's what you guys are doing right now. Of complete rest, a holy convocation. You are not to do any kind of work. It is a Shabbat for Yahweh, even in your homes. These are the designated times of Yahweh. The holy convocation you are to proclaim at your designated times. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, between sundown and complete darkness comes what? Pesach. What month is Pesach in? Aviv. Aviv means springtime. So that's how I know where to start my year is in the spring. Now, for you nerds, okay? This is for the nerds. So for all the cool kids, y'all can go to sleep for the next 5 minutes, okay? For the nerds, if you wanted to map this out right now and say, okay, in the spring was equal light and equal night. I want to instantiate the Hebrew calendar, which gives us a beautiful example of even if we lose our way, the Most High gives us a way back by saying, if you look for equal light and equal night, you'll be able to know when to start your year again. So we can do this even right now. If you go to sunset.com, I think it's sunrisesunset.com, you can look up when there was equal light and equal night on the earth. What day that was. Now, I've done the work for you already. In 2024, because I'm looking for when the day links are the same. God, this is nerdy. Whew, you actually do this? When do you have time for your family? The 16th of March was when we had 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. What day is that? Look on your calendar. What day is that? What day is March 16th, 2024? It was a Sabbath. March 16th, 2024 was a Sabbath. So you would have started your year with the beginning of your year It's a Rosh Chodesh, and it's the beginning of a new season, which is the winter season. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. That is totally incorrect. It's your spring season. Spring. Because Pesach happens in that month. All right? That was the nerdy part of all that. Okay? So we went through the calendar, we went through the Rosh Chodesh, and we tackled those two components. All right? How we doing on time? We good? I think I'll be able to get through these next 3 mitzvot, which is just the Moedims. Okay? If you have questions, which I know you will, about this calendar and how I got put together, go to HebraicCalendar.com. It's all there. We got our own nifty-difty little calendar. But if you have questions, definitely contact us. We will answer whatever questions that you have on this. But you will see as you work through the course of the calendar that a lot of our Moedims fall on Shabbats. And the Most High makes it very convenient for us. And again, they didn't have the advent of cell phones when our ancestors were around, so they couldn't call to see whether or not somebody saw the sliver somewhere else where there weren't any clouds. The Most High needed something a little bit more scientific, more stringent. And what is more stringent than the fact that did the sun come up today? Yep, okay. Everybody saw the sun. Even if it's a cloudy day, we know the sun came up. All right? Let's jump into these next mitzvot, and they are going to be on Yom Teruah, and they are going to be on Yom Kippur and the Feast of Sukkot. I just want to go over these mitzvot real quick so we are prepared when they come up. Yom Teruah is going to be next Shabbat. It's the beginning of our new season, Yom Teruah. Okay? Yom Teruah is a command. It is a Moedim that we are supposed to meet on, and it is designated in Vayikra chapter number 23. I'm going to run through each one of them, go through its purpose and how we are to carry it out. I want to make certain that everybody understands some things moving forward, because they're going to say, oh, okay, you're in that Hebrew stuff. That means that you sacrifice goats and little baby lambs and Bambi and everybody else and Thumper. We don't actually sacrifice rabbits. We don't sacrifice, okay? Why? Because we're in exile. Sacrifices happen with the Kohanim in the land at a specific time, in a specific place. That is why we do not sacrifice. Do we believe in sacrificial offerings? Yes, but you can't carry them out, even if you wanted to. Okay? Now, let me pose this question to you. I'm going to look at you because you got somebody that you work with that be messing with you. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather sacrifice a deer or a person? What's better? The deer. Thank you. Killing folk, sacrificing people. That doesn't sound like the Most High at all. Okay? The Most High does not accept blood sacrifices of human beings. So if you call yourself JC, the demigod of all demigods, and you're a man, and you make a blood sacrifice to yourself, whom you said that I would not accept, you got a mashuga on your hands. There you go. Let's go over Yom Teruah. So this is next week. It says the Feast of Trumpets, which is what Teruah means, is a celebration ordained for El, for Hebrew Israel. It is a time when we remember what El has done for us, meaning coming out of, that's just period over a course of time, but coming out of Mitzrayim, Egypt, how the Most High kept us through the desert, gave us the mitzvot, all these types of things, lived in sukkahs, all those types of things. The Feast of Trumpets is first spoken of in Vayikra chapter number 23. That's Leviticus chapter number 23, verses 25. At this particular time, Hebrew Israel had already been brought out of Mitzrayim. They had already transversed through the desert. Now, a tabernacle had already been built during the time of this instantiation of this mitzvot. Some of these mitzvot. It says, this feast was a call to stop work and to remember Yahweh. The people were told to hold a feast on the first day of the 7th month, and you are to present a fire offering to El throughout the day. Going back to my statement before, we can't do some of these mitzvot because they require sacrifices, and those sacrifices are done in the land at a certain time, place with a certain group of people. So these mitzvot, all we can do is remember them, and maybe if they have an opportunity, while we can enact some of them in exile, like fasting, we should do such. But we cannot fulfill these mitzvot in totality in exile. Let's make that abundantly clear. So if there's another teaching that's out there that's a little different, we're not getting our proverbial underwear in a bunch over the major issue, which is you can't do it anyway. Okay? Let's go to Vayikra chapter number 23 and read about what it is, or at least when it is. And then we're going to go to Bad Midbar chapter number 29 to figure out how to carry it out. This is for next week. So this is the mitzvot on Yom Teruah. It says, Eye asher Eye said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel, in the 7th month, the first of the month, on the Rosh Chodesh, is to be for you a complete, is to be for you a day of complete rest for remembering. So what do we got to do next week? We got to remember. We are to what? Hold a holy convocation. Announce with blast of the shofar. Can we do that? Absolutely. It says, do not do any kind of ordinary work. That's already part of the Shabbat. And bring an offering made by fire, which in Vayikra chapters 1 through 4 talk about all of the mitzvot that are being brought by fire. You can't do that part of it. To Eye Asher Eye. That is the command. So what can we do next week? We're going to have a holy convocation. We can have another potluck. Okay, more food, more eating, more calories, higher IQs. All right. Went all the way around. Holy convocation, do no work. It's a complete day of rest, and we are to remember. So part of our liturgy next week when I get up here is we're going to remember the things that the Most High did for our ancestors and for us. Okay? Let's go to Bad Midbar chapter number 29, verses 1 through 6. This is how to carry it out. So we know when to carry it out in Vayikra number 23. And Bad Midbar 29, 1 and 6 is going to tell us how to carry it out. It says, in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you are to have a holy convocation. Do not do any kind of ordinary work, for it is a day of blowing the shofar. Prepare a burnt offering and make a fragrant aroma to Eye Asher Eye, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 7 male lambs in their first year and without defect, and with their grain offering consisting of fine flour mixed with olive oil, 6 quarts for the bull, 4 quarts for the ram, and 2 quarts for each of the 7 lambs. Also, 1 male goat as a sin offering to make atonement for you. That's what would happen if we were in the land. That would be offered. It says in 6, this is to be in addition to the burnt offering for the Rosh Chodesh. So again, it's affirming the fact that this is a Rosh Chodesh, is the beginning of a new month. Okay? That's what I just wanted to bring your attention to for that. That's Yom Teruah. Blast the shofar. Remember, holy convocation. And usually when we get together and we holy convocate, we eat. Okay? Fellowship. We talk about things of the Most High. Very easy one. We're going to spend some time next week fulfilling that commandment. Let's go to the next one, which is Yom Kippur. The Day of Atonement. What do you know about the Day of Atonement? You fast? What's that? It's one of the most important days of the year. I mean, this one is, you're called to remember the things of the Most High that he did for us. And one of that is giving us the mitzvot. So we're going to call upon the mitzvot next week and remember those. Okay? Getting you ready, remember the mitzvot. Sound the shofar. And then we have Yom Kippur that comes in next. because this is where all the cleansing happens. Okay? Notice how in this text, the Most High has a way of cleansing his people from sin. And he took a 400-year dirt nap and decided to change his mind. Oh, I'm just going to do it. Because they're just taking too long. I made this assertion again. Here, get your TikToks out. This is going to be one of them. Here come your short, Johan. If the Most High is already in his text, in the Hebraic text, which there's nothing that precedes the Hebraic text. The Hebraic text stands on its own. When you talk about the New Testament, it cannot stand unless the Hebrew text is there. It gets everything, its nutrients, its root. Even though the fruit that comes out is corrupted, it's anchoring itself right into text, into the Hebraic text. Whew. Almost got caught up right there. I'm like, what in the world? Oh. You know what? Let me get back on track. I need to get back on track. But Yom Kippur, come on. What else do you know about Yom Kippur? Yeah? Yep, he does that. Anything else? Okay. Yep, that's in there too. That's good. He's naming off all the mitzvot. Again, this is a beautiful depiction of how the Most High atones for Hebrew Israel. Like I said, he takes a 400-year dirt nap. He wakes up from this dirt nap and he says, I'm going to do it myself. So here's what I would say to you. Okay, here we go. I told you it was a TikTok a short coming. Here it is right here. If the Most High, in his text, says, this is how I atone for my people, once a year, every time, spelled it out and said this is going to be perpetual, it's forever, then how in the world do you place your faith in a God that can change his mind? Because after he said, this is how I atone for my people, he changed his mind and said, I'm going to die as a sacrifice. He's contradicting himself. I would be careful of a God that can change his mind. Bad Midbar, chapter number 23, verse 19. I am not a man that I should lie or change my mind. When I say I'm going to do something, it will be done. If this is the word of the Most High, then how in the world does the word that he can the Most High be bound by his own word? So that's to say that the mitzvot are so tantamount that the Most High is bound by them. Because we have a mitzvot that says when you say and you make an oath to somebody, you have to fulfill it. If someone says to you, I'm going to do X, they have to fulfill it. The Most High said to Abraham in Bereshit, chapter number 17, this is my people, you're going to be numbered great as the sands, and I'm going to give them a land set apart, and this is what's going to be for them. So therefore, that's perpetual, that's forever. So when did it now become open to everybody? This was a private yacht club that we belong to. This is the private country club we belong to, and now it's open to the general public when Christianity shows up. No. We're leaders to the nations. We don't have an attitude of arrogance that we're above them, but we're leaders of them. Christianity comes along, and with the advent of Jesus Christ, now we do away with a set-apart land. We do away with a set-apart people. We do away with a set-apart language and vernacular. We do away with the mitzvot. And now you have done away with the name of the Most High, because nowhere in that text does it ever say Yahweh. Does it ever say Eye Asher Eye? You don't know what the name of the Most High is, but you just know him as God. You just know him as God. The Lord. The lords of these lands. That's where that comes from. Yes, my liege. Listen at the vernacular that it's written in. It's written in Macbethian language. My liege, take this gauntlet. See? So, I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to get into Yom Kippur. I can't do it. Just understand what you're reading and what's being fed to you. Just make sure it lines up with the text of the Most High. Let's get back into this. Yom Kippur. I got this one, and I got another one to do at the end. Okay, Yom Kippur. It's a very solemn day for us because this is the day that the Most High allows the Kohen Gadol to go into the Holy of Holies and make atonement for not only for himself and his family, but all of Hebrew Israel. There are 2 goats that are brought in, and that's where you get this issue of the scapegoat, where all of the sins of Hebrew Israel are placed on the head of this goat, and this goat is led out of the camp. So all the sins of Hebrew Israel are now alleviated through this particular process, okay? And there's offerings that are made on that day. I'm doing that so I don't have to read to you Vayikra chapter number 16. That's the whole entire chapter, is nothing but Yom Kippur on how to take it out. 23, let's go here. Vayikra chapter number 23, verse 26 through 32. This is when Yom Kippur is. It says, when Eye Asher Eye said to Moshe, who? Come on, Moray. Did it say that Moshe wrote that? That he came up with that? No. It says who? It says when Eye Asher Eye said to Moshe. So it is not the law of Moshe. New Testament. Christians, it's not the law of Moshe. It is the word of the Most High that the Most High prescribed Moshe to scribe and write. This is Yahweh talking. It says, the 10th day of this 7th month is Yom Kippur. You are to have a what? Holy convocation. You are to deny yourselves. That's the fast. And you are to bring an offering made by fire to Eye Asher Eye. Now, out of those 3, how many of them can you do? 2 of them. You can have a holy convocation. And you can deny yourselves that day. But you cannot bring a burnt offering or an offering made by fire. 28. You are not to do any kind of work on that day because it is Yom Kippur. To make atonement for you before El Asher Eye, your El. Anyone who does not deny himself on that day is to be cut off from his people. You are no longer a Hebrew Israelite. Get out of here. You are not to do any kind of work. It is a permanent regulation throughout all your generations. No matter where you live, it will be for you a Shabbat of complete rest. And you are to deny yourselves and you are to rest on your Shabbat from evening the 9th day of the month until the following evening. Okay, so Pesach is going to start in an evening on the 10th day of the month, like in the evening on the 9th, and end in the evening of the 10th. That's all it's telling us. Excuse me, I said Pesach, Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur. Thank you for the correction. Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur starts because Pesach does something similar. That's probably why my mind went there. Yom Kippur starts on the evening of the 9th and goes to the evening of the 10th. We fast. We break that fast with a holy convocation on the 10th. Okay? Vayikra chapter number 16 outlines all of this for you, and then there's another reference in Bamidbar chapter number 29, verses, you don't have to go there, through 7 through 11, that also speak about Yom Kippur as well. So we know what to do on Yom Kippur. We got to fast on that day. So those of you that are practicing intermittent fasting, this is going to be a good day for you, okay? You have to deny yourself as much as you can. For those of you that need to take medications, take your medications. We're not saying do that and endanger yourself. But those of you that can, you need to fast that day. And the way that you're going to be successful is you got to practice. That means practicing. No, wait a minute, hold on, you didn't get it. I'll tell you over this side. That means practice. Okay? Let's do our last one, which is Sukkot, which is the last one here, Moedim, in the month of the 7th month, excuse me. Sukkot. is what? The Feast of Tabernacles. And this one really is to remember that the Most High had our ancestors live in booths while they were out in the desert. It's a remembrance of that particular situation that our ancestors were in. Let me read you this. It says, the Feast of Tabernacles is also known as the Feast of Booths and Sukkot. In the seventh and last feast of Yahweh, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh commanded Hebrew Israel to observe as one of the 3 feasts that the Hebrews were to observe each year, and to appear before Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh in the place which he shall choose. Let's stop here for a second, because this one is unique, because it actually has a particular place where it has to happen at. Okay? Now, I want to read something, and I'm going to invoke, Brother B, you're going to help me with this one today. I want your antennas up. I'm just going to start calling on people. Jayla, your antenna's going to be up. Olivia, your antenna's going to be up. Sister V, your antenna's going to be up. I always pick on y'all. Anthony, your antenna's going to be up. I'm going to read this slow. Let the logic of what you're reading sink into your brain. Devarim chapter number 16, verse 16 through 17. Says, what's that first number? Oh, she hasn't got there yet. Hold on. Chapter 16, verses 16 through 17. What's that first number? 3. 3. How many of y'all remember De La Soul? 3 is the magic number. Come on. Pluck 1, pluck. Okay. Phew, I'm dating myself. That's oldies. That's oldies rap. I'm old enough to where rap now is oldies on the oldie station. That's Tone Loc. 3 times a year. All. Wait a minute. 4 times a year, some. No, it says what? 3 times a year, all your men are to appear in the presence of Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, your El, in the place which he will choose. Who's doing the choosing? Okay, where do we know that is? It's in Yerushalayim, okay? At the festival of what? Matzah, the festival of Shavuot, and the festival of Sukkot, which is the one that we're talking about right now. It's the last one in the month, the 7th month. It says, they are not to show up before Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh empty-handed, but every, who? How many? Every man is to give what he can in accordance with the blessing Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, your El, has given you. If you go to Vayikra, chapter number, which you don't have to do, chapter number 23 through 33 through 34, it will tell you that this is an 8-day feast. Matter of fact, let's do that. We have to do that. Vayikra chapter number 23, 33. It's where I'm getting ready to go, which is in Bad Midbar 29. It tells you on each day, because this is an 8-day feast, it tells you in Bad Midbar 29 what you're supposed to bring on each day. Okay? We're not going to go over that. But we are going to go over Vayikra chapter number 23, verses 33 through 43. It says, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel on the 15th day of the 7th month, okay, is the feast of what? Sukkot. 7 days to Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. On the first day, there's to be a holy convocation. So on the first day of Sukkot, we got to have a holy convocation. All right? Do not do any kind of ordinary work. For 7 days, you are to bring an offering made by fire. Can we do that? No. Okay. To Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. On the 8th day, you are to have a holy convocation. So this convocation is going to go from Shabbat to Shabbat. We're going to open it on the Shabbat, and we're going to end it on the Shabbat. I'm actually going to open it. Moreh Holman is going to close it. So, on the 8th day, you are to have a holy convocation and bring an offering made by fire to Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. It is a day of public assembly. Do not do any kind of ordinary work. Now, we know what we got to do on Sukkot, right? There were sacrifices that need to be made on each day. We can't do. But it is a Shabbat, a holy convocation on the first day, holy convocation on the last day. On those particular days, we are, it says, to live in booths. If you can do it. Where is the P? Oh, here it is. Let's go let's stay in Vayikra 23. Let's jump down to 40. 23 and 40. This is the other part of this about living in a booth during this particular time. So on 40 it says, on the first day you are to take the choice fruit, palm fronds, thick branches, and river willows, and celebrate in the presence of Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh Yoel for 7 days. You are to observe it as a feast of Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh 7 days in the year. It is a permanent regulation. We have to do this. It says generation after generation, keep it in the 7th month. You are to live in Sukkot for 7 days. A Sukkot is a booth. So outside of your house, in a booth. I know some of us can't do that, but don't be distressed if you live in an apartment or you don't have a yard or you don't have any of that. This is practice. We can't do this one in its totality anyway. If the best we can do is convocate, let's convocate. For those who can live in sukkahs, live in a sukkah. Okay? Don't be condemned because you live and have your living arrangements don't allow you to actually have a sukkah. Now, I think Johan actually probably has some campground or something somewhere you've been text messaging everybody about. It'll probably come up that we can talk about. But I just don't want to have anybody be convicted that you can't live in a sukkah. Like, oh, I can't do the mitzvot, so, induce trauma that you don't need. All right? But it says you are to live in a sukkah. Every citizen of Israel is to live in a sukkah, so that the generation after generation you will know that I had made the people of Israel live in sukkahs when I brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. I am Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, your El. Okay, we're almost done. Sukkot is an interesting Moedim. I want to go back. Let me set this up, please, because we're almost done. Give me 5 more minutes. Let's go back to Devarim chapter number 16. Because I had you guys read it slow. Verse 16 through 17. Who did I say? I said Anthony. I said Sister V. Who else did I say? Y'all don't know. You called on me. 3 times a year. Your men are to appear in the presence of Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, your El, in the place which he will choose. At the festival of Matzah, at the festival of Shavuot, and at the festival of Sukkot. They are not to show up before Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh empty-handed, but every man is to give what he can, in accordance to the blessing Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, your El, has given you. Confirm to me what I just read. 3 times a year, all your men are to show up where the Most High says show up at for Matzah, Shavuot, and Sukkot. So Sukkot is done in the land, right? It's done in the land. Good. I'm glad we're all on the same page and we're all friends. Let's go to John in the New Testament, chapter number 7, verses 1 through 9. Because Jesus actually does Sukkot. Kind of does Sukkot. Now, again, Christians will tell you that the mitzvot have been done away with because of Christ. Why? Because Christ fulfilled them. He did them. So you don't have to. After this, Jesus the Christ, or Yeshua, traveled around in Galilee, intentionally avoiding Yehuda because the Yehudim were out to kill him. Why am I running from my creation? If I'm God, why am I running from, you're from the tribe of Yehuda. You're running from your own folk. Okay? But you're on the run, and you're God. Okay. Just want to make sure I get that straight. Because I'll be doggone if I'm going to run from a piece of casework that I made. But the festival of what? Sukkot in Yehuda was near. So his brothers said to him, listen to what his disciples say to him about this issue about Sukkot. He says, leave here and go into Yehuda. Is they telling him right? Yes, because in Yehuda, the tribe of Yehuda, in that territory is Yerushalayim. Okay? So he's saying go into Yehuda, which is where 3 times a year your men are supposed to be for Sukkot, Shavuot, and Feast of Matzah. Says go into Yehuda so that the Talmudim can see these miracles that you do. For no one who wants to become known acts in secret. If you are doing these things, show yourself to the world. Okay? If you're God, what better place to show people that you're God than at the Feast of Sukkot? All the men are going to be there. They're going to be able to see who you are. Go. Show them. Why are you hiding? This is his people asking him, why are you hiding, bruh? Okay? 5, he says, his brothers spoke this way because they had not put their trust in him. Yeshua said to him, my time has not come, but for you, any time is right. Huh? I'm not going to go, but you go. The world can't hate you, but it does hate me, because I keep telling it how wicked its ways are. You go up to the festival. As for me, I am not going up to the festival now. You are mandated as a Yehudim and a Hebrew citizen to be present and accounted for at a party that you're throwing for yourself. That's like me inviting me over to my house and you show up and the doors are locked and nobody's home and you're looking in there. Aren't we supposed to be here to honor you and what you did to our ancestors by keeping them in booths? And then you mandated us in Devarim chapter number 16, verses 16 through 17, that every man of Israel needs to be present and accounted for in Yerushalayim. And you are saying here, out of your own mouth, I am not going up to this festival now because the right time for me has not come. You don't get an opportunity to dictate when you want to go. Come, it says, having said this, they stayed in Galilee. I'm here to tell you, here yet is another example connected to one of our Moedims, where which the Roman Catholic Church has given you this to sell you their guy, their demigod. Okay? Here is an example where if someone comes and tells you that he did everything in the law and fulfilled it, you can say, excuse me, the law that you wrote and gave to Moshe says you were supposed to be in Yerushalayim. And you, out of your own mouth, you elected and says, I'm not going. You should have been the guest of honor there if you are Yahweh incarnate. Okay? Understand what you have been given to read. Granted, our Hebrew text is here. is here. That don't make that this book is not some work of some idolatry. Now, I'm not going to totally demonize it because it was reading this that got us to the Most High. So let me put that into perspective, okay? I don't know how the Most High had he not sent this test called Christianity, because if you love me, you will keep my commands and not follow after idol worship, allowed this thing to be in place. If it weren't there, what other means would the Most High have given us to get back to him? So again, I'm not totally demonizing it because I know that there's a lot, people will come to the understanding of the Most High through it, which is kind of stupid when you think about it, when the grafters of Christianity actually put it together. Why would you put your own self-destruct button inside your own book? You put the method to dismantle your whole entire dogma in a book while you're trying to sell a demigod, just because you want to prove that he comes from the lineage of David. Those are your 3 Moedims in the month, the 7th month, which we're getting ready to enter in at the beginning of the month next week at Shabbat. So we are going to open up with Yom Teruah next week. It is a holy convocation. We'll meet here. Easy one, because we're going to be doing a bunch of remembering, okay? Have oneg, with fellowship, and rejoice in the Most High. Hopefully something today was said that enriched you and gave you something that you could, some news that you could use. Okay? Oh, my goodness. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let me bless you. Yivareka Yahweh ve'yishmareka Yair Yahweh penaveleka v'chuneka Yasa Yahweh penaveleka v'yasa laka shalom, which simply means, may Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine on you and show you his favor, the all-existent one's favor, not your husband's favor, not your wife's favor, not your kids' favor, not your boss's favor, but his favor. May Yahweh lift his face towards you and give you shalom, West Coast Hebrews. Till next time, shalom.